Hello, and welcome to the Advent 7 podcast. I'm your host, Trey, and once again, I'm joined by the boy, the man, Andrew.
Hey, hey, hey. Force, destiny, may the force be with you, and all that fun jazz.
And if you couldn't tell, we're back. We're here to talk once again about Star Wars Visions, this time talking about episodes 4, 5, and 6. Before we get started, we'd like to thank you for tuning in today. If you're new here, we hope you enjoy the show. And if you do, we feel free to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and share it on social media. Once again, just sharing it makes the world go round.
Makes our world go round, that's for sure.
That's definitely for sure. Once you're done here, please check out our previous episode talking about episodes 1, 2, and 3. Or you could also check out our original Star Wars podcast that we did back in May, where we initially heard about Star Wars Visions and realizing we have to do a show on this. And with that out of the way, it's a short intro, but let's dive into part 2 of Star Wars Visions. Light spoilers for episodes 4 through 6. All right, so let's get started with episode 4, The Village Bride, brought to you by Kinema Citrus. In case you don't recognize that name, because I definitely didn't, but doing some research, they're the people behind Made in Abyss, The Rise of the Shield Hero, but Barakamon and a few other gem shows. So really cool.
I did not know that they made Barakamon. That's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the animation style for episode 4 was very familiar to me. I didn't quite know what it was, but it was the lines, the way they drew the lines. There was that softness to it. And the character designs too. They just felt very reminiscent of some other shows I'd seen. So I couldn't place my finger on it, but I knew I had seen the studio somewhere.
Yeah.
So, the setting of this episode, super interesting. They're on this planet, and it's like more of a tribal civilization. But what I want to say right away, what I want to get out there first before anything else, the absolute aesthetic of our main heroine in this episode far exceeds that of the female twin from episode 3. Move over, evil Sith twin. I'm all about this Jedi now. I'm all about her. She's great. I love the samurai-style mask that our main character wears, and I don't know. It's just like overall, her design. I really jive with it. I think it's super cool. It's mysterious. The actor that got to play her, she's got that deep, hardened voice. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. She's awesome. As soon as I saw her, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a good episode.
Andrew simp speed run.
I mean, it's not that. It's not. Look, it's just really cool character design. That is what draws me into a lot of shows. I'll watch practically any anime just because I see the main character and they have a really interesting design, and I'm like, okay, aesthetically super cool. I can dig that. I could see people cosplaying as this character. Sign me up. So yeah, no, she's cool. I dig that.
Let me give the quick description of the episode before we keep going.
Sure.
The Village Bride, a Jedi on the run, takes in the unique customs of a remote village under threat by a warlord. So it's a classic story, honestly. It's very simple setup. We get two Jedi on a planet, and they're just they're almost doing an indigenous study. They're watching.
Right. Yeah, the person that the Jedi shows up to meet is apparently a friend of hers, or a friend of the master she used to have, and this guy is researching the planet. He's just gathering data. He pulls out his tool. Kind of looks like a lightsaber at first, but it
looked like a lightsaber, but it was a tool. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was super cool. I really dig the helmet that he wears. Combined with the cape that he's got, really makes it feel like Star Wars when you have advanced technology combined with very old, almost tribal aesthetics. You've got a mix of both here. So yeah, he's cool from the moment we meet him. He's very smooth talking, but maybe a little bit sarcastic old man character.
Yeah, it's like he's been around the block. He's just here. He's here doing his job, but he's also here because he knows this young Padawan needs some guidance.
Yep, perfect type of personality to bounce off of our main character here.
But yeah, so this story just is the native princess is basically being sold off just to protect the rest of the village from the warlords that are going to be coming at the end of this episode.
Right.
Where they also have battle droids from the Clone Wars.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, when I saw those, I was like, wait, they mentioned separatists. What? And then I saw the droids. I'm like, oh my gosh. They've got them from the OG days, the original trilogy. Okay. And it made me wonder, what time period does this short take place in? Like, where are we exactly? Because I feel like sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the way they're talking, it sounds like it's technically. So once again, there's been this argument discourse about whether any of these shorts are going to be canon, how they fit into any part of the timeline, because it kind of doesn't make sense. The way this is stating it, it sounds like it comes after the rise of the Empire, but since there's still some Jedi around, that makes less sense.
Especially since this Padawan's presence almost feels like it's accepted as just being a thing that people see. Or at least not the bad guys that's here, because they're like, oh my god, what are you? Are you a monster? But like, the townsfolk, they welcome the two travelers with open arms, apparently.
Well, that could just be their culture.
It could be. That's true. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not too obsessed on like where in the timeline these episodes from Visions take place. It just made me curious. It came up in my mind. I was like, okay, where this episode takes place kind of explains our main character's personality, like where she's coming from a little bit. So yeah, you're right. It's a very simple story about the village bride who is sacrificing herself to save her people. You've seen this type of archetype, this type of narrative, and tons of different iterations. What I love about Visions so far with the first six episodes is that they're taking very simple concepts and they're just adding that Star Wars spin on it. And I love that, especially with 15 to 20 minute episodes. You don't exactly have a lot of time to get too grand with the plot. You can't really afford to focus too much on certain characters or certain things. You want to move along with whatever it is the message or the moral of the story is supposed to be, and get it started, progressed, and then resolved. And Village Bride does that here, and it doesn't feel like it's too rushed to me. I think this episode, it made me sad because I also thought, like, damn, we really could see more of her, of the main character, and we could see more of these people. I want to know, like, what's going on. The story can't just end here. I want more. They have the potential to do that. They set up for more story to surround it. They get me hooked with this one piece.
Who knows? We might get a Visions part 2. We might get a Visions 2.
That'd be amazing. That'd be absolutely amazing if they made a second season of Visions. I'd be crying, because the existence of Visions alone, I said this in the last podcast, but it almost defies all logic that this happened.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly grateful this happened in the first place. I know the anime is getting mainstream in the West and all, but the fact that like Disney and Star Wars went all out to make an anthology series and spent the budget for it, that's pretty cool. And you can tell there's budget here because every episode is very well animated.
Gorgeous. Well, the biggest thing I want to say about this episode is the backgrounds, the nature of this planet is just stunning to look at. It's just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. Also, what really hooked me the first time I saw episode 4 was the music.
Oh, yeah.
When they're climbing the mountain and you hear that.
It almost gives you like Nausicaa feels almost.
Kind of, yeah. I definitely got this really epic but mysterious feeling from the music. I thought whoever they got to compose this episode's music in particular, like they knocked it out of the park. I don't think it was Kevin Penkin that did this one, but
I don't think so. I think he's later. He's in one of the last 3 episodes, I think.
let me just Google it real quick. So I
Yeah.
would like to know.
Yeah, while Andrew Googles that real quick, I will say, personally, this story started out very slow for me. Like, it was a slow build-up, and it was enjoyable to watch, but it was just like, you know what? Coming off of the twins is like, oh, okay, can we get on with this? I already kind of know where this story is going.
Mm-hmm.
But when the Jedi in the story gets her determined face on, she cuts off her Padawan
the braid. Yeah.
and drops her mask. It's like, oh, it's about to go. It's about to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things are about to get serious. And when she dropped the mask, I was like, no, it looks so cool. But then we see her face, and she got the scar on her like left or right
Lip.
side of her face. And I'm like, okay, she still looks badass. Never mind.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really cool. Okay, so it looks like we were wrong. Kevin Penkin did do the music for this episode. No freaking wonder it's so good.
Kevin Bacon, you beautiful Aussie man.
Yeah, Kevin, you've blessed us once again with a gorgeous soundtrack. Thank you. Thank you. Like, it's just that when the episode started, yes, I saw the main character. I was like, okay, she's cool. Saw the village bride. I'm like, she looks cool. And I'm getting that it's kind of building up slow at first. And I think, well, yeah, like this is Star Wars. It feels kind of like Star Wars, but I'm not quite enticed yet. The episode hasn't really pulled me in. We're about 2 minutes in. Then the music starts. And I just perked up. And I was like, what? And I'm watching them listening to like the I don't know how to, I'm not going to imitate it actually. But it was just freaking cool. And in the climax, once the main character reveals herself and she force stops that laser blast from the
every
from
time,
those guys, yeah,
every time it gets me.
Yeah, the violins pick up, and then the Separatist droids look up and they're getting sniped by her friend up on the mountain. I'm like, oh my god, we're in it now. We are in it. Like, things have picked up. This is what I signed up for. This is the intense, high intensity action I wanted. I'm getting it now. We've got a fight on our hands. Mm-hmm. And then so were they bounty hunters that took over the Separatists, or
they weren't bounty hunters. I think they were just like, they were almost like strip miners almost.
Okay.
Or pirates maybe. I can't remember, but they were like just someone that they were just slowly taking over the planet. And they were just guaranteeing that they couldn't be messed with as long as they had the princess.
Okay. Well, we're going to go with bounty hunters because I'm pretty sure it's what they said in the episode.
Okay.
But yeah, when like the lead bounty hunter, like in all black, like very pale, gross looking dude, just shouts out, "Who are you? What are you? Are you a monster?" And the main character, she looks up and says, "I am a Jedi." Takes out her lightsaber and the yellow blade comes out. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Then she rotates it and it's flat like a sword. And I'm like, oh, shit.
And then she cuts him in half, samurai style.
Oh my god. Yeah. Like, she just takes a deep breath, pulls the blade back. Like, she rotates it back behind her and takes that forward step. Her heel, that like robotic armored heel that she got. She's wearing heels, which is crazy. She takes one forward step.
Robotic high-tech heels, oh my god.
And then whoosh! Whoosh, like a flash. She's just on the other side of them now and just sliced them in half. And I'm like, oh my god. That was the coolest thing ever.
Yep.
Well, what even happened in the first 2 episodes? I don't even remember anymore. This is just blowing my mind out of the water. Cool. It was a katana. It was another katana lightsaber. I love it.
Yep.
I love it so much. I can't believe we haven't had something like this up until this point. it's just so cool. I really want to see people cosplay as this character because I think that everything about her, it just screams cool.
Oh
So
yeah, I can't wait to see some of the cosplays this anthology is going to create. Like this is going to
mhm.
be fantastic.
Right.
But yeah, that's basically the Village Bride. It's very good. I remember the ranking it got was actually number 4. It's
Okay.
the fourth rank, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that. The thing I like about episode 4 as well is that it is a slow burn. It gives you more and more things to care about and be interested in as it goes along. It is not just cutthroat action from the get go. Starkly different from episode 3, where episode 3 is just really hammers on at you.
Hmm.
It doesn't start right out of the gate either, but episode 3 is pretty much right out of the gate after the first few minutes, and that's kind of what Studio Trigger is known for.
Yep.
So that's totally fine. But episode 4 feels a bit more like a build up kind of tale, and like you said, the animation, the nature is all gorgeous. You really feel a natural kind of tone with
Yeah.
episode 4. So overall, yeah, it's super cool. I love it. Love the animation. Love the music. And okay, so my question for you, Trey. I didn't ask you this beforehand. Do you want to cover episode 5 next, or do you want to do it last?
I mean, I want to go in order, but honestly, we're going to be talking a lot about it, and I'll feel bad for episode 6.
Let's, like this.
Push it back. Let's push it back.
Yeah. Like this may jumble things around a little bit for listeners, but let's tackle episode 6 first, because I think episode 5 is the one we're really gonna delve into here.
Oh yeah, but before we move on, I do want to point out. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a rebel group in the episode, and one of them looks like Naruto. I'm just pointing that out. One of the rebel members looks
Oh,
has
I
like
know.
blonde hair, is wearing a headband. I'm like, that's like Naruto.
Yeah, I saw that guy too. I was like, oh hey, it's a little bit of a homage there. Okay. Yeah, I did see that. They didn't have a lot of screen time. They were mostly there to be a plot device to kind of drive along the climax a lot faster, and it made sense that not everybody in the village would be cool with sacrificing the bride just to appease the bounty hunter people. Yeah, I liked that. That not everybody in the village was just like, okay, yeah, we're gonna sacrifice this innocent girl. Why not?
Yeah. So yeah, we're skipping on to episode 6, TOB1. Let me get the description up real quick. TOB1. A cybernetic boy who dreams of being a Jedi discovers a dangerous truth about his creator. This is brought to us by Science Saru, also known as Masaki Yuasa's studio. He was not involved in this one, but if you don't know Science Saru or Masaki Yuasa, you might remember Devilman Crybaby, Keep Your Hands Off Azakin, Ride Your Wave. It's like,
What was that? It's the Tokyo earthquake anime.
oh yeah, Japan Sinks.
Japan Sinks, yeah, the best one of all. He's definitely known for that one.
But yes, Yuasa wasn't part of this one, wasn't the director on this one, so it's not his work, but it's his studio who's
Got
doing
you.
it.
Yeah. They were like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't let Yuasa do this one, just because his style is so Yuasa that it might not be Star Wars at all by the time he's done with it.
Yep.
He might get a bit too experimental. Maybe leave this to someone else this time. That's fair. I didn't know that Science Saru was his studio though. I didn't know that. So that's super cool. He's one of my favorite directors. Yeah.
So yeah, this episode is basically Astro Boy, the Jedi. Someone who loved Astro Boy as a kid was like, what if we did it in space?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you said it like that, because that's literally what it is. That's the first thing I thought when I saw TOB1. I'm like, okay, they just ripped off Astro Boy. Cool.
Yes, our young Toby is a droid that it's a very soft. I like Science Saru's art style here because everybody's so soft looking. Like he's not a angular droid. His face is very rounded and it's almost flesh-like, but it's like he's still a robot.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, like he has a lot of fluid movement to him, but Toby is a robot. And the visuals they do in episode 6, in my opinion, they're better than even episode's 1's visuals. Because
Yeah.
there you can tell just looking at TOB1's, there's a lot more. Okay, I don't want to say it like that. There is just a ton of effort put into every frame of that episode, and it's all done in a very unique style of animation. Every frame literally looks like a painting in that episode, and it boggles my mind how they managed to pull off such a, what do you call it, a storybook like aesthetic for that episode.
Yeah, that's actually the best way to put it. I was gonna say like it's almost because this does remind me a lot of Keep Your Hands Off Azukin, where it's got that childlike wonder to the animation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very childlike. That is what the 6th episode could be described all around as, and I really appreciate that. You feel like the story itself and the aesthetic matches TOB1's childlike personality and where he is in life. You're kind of put on that same level as him to see the world through his eyes. And the way he sees the world is wondrous and magnificent. He's not depressed. He's not pessimistic. He looks at the entire galaxy and he wants to explore it because there's wonders out there. And he looks at the idea of being a Jedi as just, super cool. And it's for the sake of justice. And it's because he was meant to do, and he knows it from the bottom of his heart. And he is unapologetically enthusiastic about it. Those are all the traits of a main character from a mid-2000s cartoon.
Yeah.
Like I look at TOB1 and I think like, man, if I was 12, I'd be so into this. Like I'm massively into this. I'm still into this. But I feel like this is the type of tale that really could resonate with kids. And it's a hard story. It doesn't feel like a story that's talking down to children either. It feels like a story that is about some genuinely important topics and messages, but it is told through the eyes of a child. Yeah. And I absolutely adored that. I thought it was incredibly entertaining. The second watch through I did of episode 6 was much more enjoyable for me because I was really able to take in every visual detail of that episode. However, the one big qualm I have with episode 6 is that I feel like it tried to do too much within the span of 15 minutes. Past the point.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this is a small qualm. Again, we've said it before. These are going to be short episodes. They have a lot to pack in. I get it. But if there's one thing I had to pick on, it's the fact that after the professor dies, I feel like that's when the episode should have ended. I think that the climax should have been showing the professor fighting, and maybe Toby like crawls out of that hole he gets put in, and he fights with the professor, loses the professor, but he carries on the research work, and maybe becomes a Jedi someday. But past that point, the episode's pacing just shoots off like an arrow, and you are trying to keep up with it throughout the span of the rest of the episode. Things are just happening left and right. I'm like, oh my god, he revived the whole planet already? Wow, okay. Where'd the Kyber crystal come from?
It was powering him. That's the funny thing.
It was in him?
Yeah.
Oh,
or at least
okay.
That's what the visuals were telling me.
Okay,
the visuals
holy
were telling
crap.
me that.
Like, I feel like it happens so quickly. I'm like, oh, he has it now. What? I guess that makes sense. Yeah,
I do love how.
Sorry, go ahead. I've been ranting.
I do love how right before because we have Darth Vader ripoff number 62 show up to find Toby and the professor, because Toby accidentally sent out a signal. When he shows up, I think the professor's name was Miyaki. He hides Toby away, and as he walks away, he says, I am one with the Force, and the Force is one with me. As
Yes.
as he walks off, I'm just like, ah,
a
thanks.
little bit of a Rogue One Easter egg in there. Yeah.
Yep. Also, he has no arms.
He has no arms?
Professor Miyagi had no arms. I was trying to figure out. I was like,
What? No way. I
he,
could have sworn I'd see him have fingers.
no, that was when he was sitting in a chair working on his device.
Oh.
His chair had was used
Appendages?
to do his had appendages to do his work. Because when
Yo.
Toby hugged him, he didn't put any arm around him before he put him away. He had no arms.
Huh. Well, that's pretty sad. I missed that detail because so much happens in episode 6. Just totally went over my head. Okay, that's pretty sad, but an interesting detail that they pegged on there.
Yep.
When we saw the ship, I actually thought that the dude was an ex-Imperial, like pilot or something. And maybe they throw that in there to like throw you off. But then he turns out to actually be a Jedi. I'm like, okay. That makes a little bit more sense now why he was so apprehensive for Toby to get involved with the Force.
Don't go into the basement. No, he wants him to get into the Force, so he just was like, don't go into the basement.
Just don't go there. And then he goes in there and screws it up. And then the Sith found him.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, he put out a distress beacon. That's like the one thing you're not supposed to do.
Yeah, it's a very nice story. Sadly, this has actually been rated the worst of the series.
Oh.
It's ranked 9 out of the 9.
Oh. No, well, I mean, like, hey, 9 really good episodes, being the worst out of all of them, like, in a sense, that's fine. You know, you're still awesome. My guess is that maybe a lot of people didn't like it because of the childlike storybook aesthetic, or maybe it was the pacing. That's my only complaint is I think the pacing could have been a lot less rapid fire, because there was a certain point once we get past the planet being revived and Toby gets the lightsaber. That's when that's when I was just like, okay, I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm just along for the ride. Like, things are happening on screen. I'm just gonna take in the spectacle. Cool. But I could see that as being the moment where maybe some viewers just stop being invested, because you feel like the episode has just lost you by that point.
It's like, it feels like a good ending point was, hey, I revived the planet. I did what my master wanted me, what my father wanted me to do. But they're like, but it's like, no, we gotta have the fight. We gotta have a fight.
We gotta have a fight.
We gotta
end with a fight. Yes, yeah. I feel like that's kind of what they said in the production meetings at Science Star. Is like, no, this isn't over. And the animator is like, well, what do you mean? That was the end of the script. They're like, no. We're gonna have a fight, you see. And the animator's like, oh, sweet Jesus, no. And so they did a fight scene with the Sith dude. It was cool. But yeah, it just happened so fast that you feel like you get bulldozed there in the last act. So, yeah, I mean, overall, though, I think that Science Saru did a fantastic job. In my opinion, this is the most experimental episode so far. This really takes a unique idea, aims at a very specific demographic with messages in mind. This is like the stark opposite of episode 1, where episode 1 is so film noir and very serious and kind of a depressing way. But episode 6 is like the polar opposite of that, where it says, hey, let's look at something positive instead.
Yeah.
Overall, I liked Toby, and I think the second watch through hit with me more because I knew what to expect. I knew what was going to happen. So the second time around, I could enjoy it more because I didn't feel like I was getting bulldozed during the rewatch. I felt like, okay, now I can just take in the details I missed before, which apparently I still missed the detail of the professor having no freaking arms. So I gotta go watch it a third time, apparently.
So this is one of 2 shows being made by Science Saru. So we're getting one more episode with them.
Oh, of course we are. Of course we are. Okay. Fair enough. Even better. Would love to see what they do next time around. Is Yuasa the director on that one?
I'm not sure. I guess I could look it
So
up, but
look it up.
I'm doing this blind. We'll find out when we talk about it next time.
Yeah, we've been watching these episodes as we discussed them. Like, we only watched the first 3 when we did the first episode, and then we did the second 3 for this podcast episode, and we're gonna do the next 3 at the very end. So, yeah, no worries.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But now it's time to talk about episode 5. In my personal opinion, the best episode so far.
Production IG. Y'all did it again. You do it every dang time. I love your Production IG. Dang it, you guys just went full force with this one, didn't you? You really didn't have to go this hard, but y'all went this hard. And oh my god, this episode latches onto you from the second it starts and will not let you go.
Yep, so
It's
yeah,
gorgeous.
this episode 5, The Ninth Jedi, brought to us by Production IG. The description is, the daughter of a lightsaber smith is pursued by dark forces while on a dangerous mission. And in case you don't know who Production IG is, where you been, first of all? Second of all, we've got a new show that they are making right now, airing on Toonami and Crunchyroll, Fena, Pirate Princess.
Yeah, Pirate Princess.
But they've also got classics like Ghost in the Shell and Psychopaths. And also, they are the kings of the anthology because they were in both Halo Legends and Gotham Knights.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is not IG's first run at an anthology. They know what they're doing. Gosh, their short in Halo Legends was my absolute favorite. I believe that was the one called Homecoming. And that, oh my god, yep, they're like every single time, no matter whether it's like the mid-2000s when they did Halo Legends or it's 2021 when they do Star Wars Visions, every dang time, IG's production visuals are off the freaking chart. And they also know how to handle a serious story with serious characters and get you engrossed into the narrative so that you are consistently interested. They know how to make an overall engaging story, even if it's a short one. And that is actually very hard to do. I prefer to not grade all the individual shorts against one another as much as I can. I'm going to do it, but I try not to because they all do different things, right? By different people. They're all pieces of art in their own ways. But IG just knows how to keep you invested from the first second to the last second. And that's what I was with episode 5. You said it yourself earlier. Episode 5 checks off all the boxes. I'm going to let you dive into this one.
Everything. And by the way, this is also the longest episode out of all of them. I mean, it's like officially this one runs at 22 minutes with the credits attached, but still 22 minutes, and the next longest one is 20 minutes, and that's we haven't even seen that one yet. But yeah, the Ninth Jedi is the longest one, and so I made this post on Twitter. I'm gonna tell you the joke again. Production ID. So we get to make a Star Wars movie, right? Disney. Well, no, but here's the budget for the short we want from you. Oh, we can Production ID. Oh, we can work with this.
Yeah. IG's like, okay, that's fine. Not the first time that we've done something like this. We got it.
So they start with like this whole thing is literally a mini Star Wars movie. They start with a voiceover that'd be the same as the word crawl that we normally get in a Star Wars movie. And Andrew, there is someone very interesting voicing the lead male, the male lead.
Who is it?
It's Masioka, Hero from Heroes.
No freaking way.
Yeah.
What? The Japanese dude with the sword from Heroes, the live action show from the mid-2000s? That one?
Yeah. That guy.
Oh my god. I thought I'd heard his voice from somewhere. I thought it was familiar. Perfect. That's great. Oh, I'm so happy that he came back for this. That's awesome. Dude's a freaking legend. Ah, that's fantastic.
So, to full disclosure, when I was watching this episode, I thought his voice acting was a little bad, and I will stand by that. But it's Masaoka. The man is a legend.
Yeah, yeah. He's still a fantastic actor, so I'm fine with it.
So yeah, the main story that goes through the Ninth Jedi is that someone is putting out a call to all the Jedi left out in the galaxy to come to this planet, meet up, and if they show up and prove that they're Jedi, they will be given a lightsaber, because apparently there's just been a shortage of lightsabers. This could be during the time of the Empire, it could be who knows when. But
yeah, lightsabers are not as easy to come by nowadays. Like, they don't just manufacture them; you gotta make them. And I mean, as the bladesmith that we see later on in the episode proves, there's a lot of steps to this. You have to know how to make a lightsaber.
So yeah, we find out that there are 7. So when we open up, we find 7. Well, we find a few, and then it eventually gets to 7 total Jedi in this room who have all received the message of come to this place. And I spent half of the episode saying that dude's evil. The guy who sent out the message, I'm like, that dude looks 100% evil.
Yeah. Margrave Jugo, I think was his name. He's literally wearing like this mechanical mask with red eye slits. Dude looks like a Sith. Yeah, they all pull out the beacons they got, and you watch the message from the Margrave, and you're like, oh, this is totally a trap. Yep. But on my second rewatch, I noticed the little hints that IG drops here and there among the first 7 Jedi that show up to retrieve their lightsabers, and I notice there's something amiss here, and it's not the Margrave necessarily.
So yeah, and then we go down to because this is happening on like an asteroid station around the planet, and back on the actual planet, we have our lead female, the daughter of the lightsaber smith, and we see the coolest thing I've ever seen in Star Wars. This lightsaber smith was able to tune the kyber in such a way that if you grab the lightsaber, depending on your connection to the Force, will change how the lightsaber looks and acts. Yeah. And I was like, ain't no way!
I feel like that's a first. I don't think we've seen that before.
So yeah, so like the daughter, when she picks up a lightsaber, it doesn't have a color to it. But she was able to make it extend and shrink, and I was like, that's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. That was super
cool.
She was disappointed at first that her lightsaber like connection didn't have any color to it. But I said to myself, like, dude, that looks cool. You have like an invisible lightsaber blade. Like that, I feel like that's way more unique. Keep that. You know? She doesn't. Like, she eventually finds her connection. That's cool. But yeah, she can control the length of the blade. Like that's something special. Whoever thought of that during the scripting phase, give them an award. Like, buy them a coffee or something. They deserve it. That was a wonderful idea.
And so this episode kicks up to like an 11 because I kind of was complaining about the use of CG in this episode, but all that went away the second we get into this forest chase scene, and I was like, oh my god, production IG hit
dude, the chase scene through the forest and then onto like the ice field, that was peak hype. Like, that was the point where I'm like, okay, I'm in this and I'm not backing out anymore. Like, we're going like 100 miles an hour here.
Mm-hmm. Just like,
I love the part. Okay. So I love the part where they get out of the forest, and of course the bad guy chasing her is like, the Force is strong with this one, because it's like anime production companies are all a bunch of nerds who've been wanting to do Star Wars forever, so they're gonna push in references wherever they can, right?
Yeah.
Then the bladesmith's daughter she actually gets off her bike in the ice field and like does a little bit of a dance to like catch her footing, pulls out the lightsaber and whips it around, you know, gets the momentum going. The bad guy fires off the laser blast with his rifle, pew pew pew, and she just boom boom boom, just reflecting them left and right. Flips around the lightsaber, spins over her shoulder, slice, goes right through the bad guy's his bike. Goes right through his bike and he topples over. Hops back on her bike and she is out of there. Yo, the momentum, the motion, the action, it was all there. I'm like, oh my god. She just took out that lightsaber and went, batter up, and just boom, just goes right through his bike. It's beautiful.
They don't miss. Production ID don't miss.
They don't miss. Nope. Production IG's like, you're gonna catch these hands.
So we get to the space station where we deliver the lightsabers, and the minute that happens, I just literally, I vocally went, "Oh no!"
Yeah, that's what I did too. The second they all grab the lightsabers and they're like, something's wrong. The camera rotates, then rotates again, this unnatural feeling, and then 6 red blades pop up. I'm like, oh no. Oh no, bro, this ain't good. Like, I think I just stood up from my desk at that moment. I was like, oh crap, this ain't gonna end well. That was a fantastic.
Turns out the Margrave was not a bad guy.
Oh my god,
I was wrong.
The Margrave, like one of the Sith dudes approaches him, the little short guy. Margrave just force stops him, grabs the lightsaber. The blade turns green, and I just shouted, "Yo!" And then just goes over and just slice. Just samurai style goes right through that guy. I'm like, okay, yep. We're at like we've turned it up to number 11 for this fight, and what ensues is a beautiful like lightsaber battle at that, because the three Jedi
3-on-6 matchup.
3-on-6 matchup. Well, 3-on-5 actually, because the Margrave just freaking noped out one of their guys right away. 3-on-5. And at one point, the Bladesmith's daughter, she is taking on 3 Sith at once. I counted. Yep. Once she starts fighting and she goes up the stairs to the Margrave, she deflects 3 of the Sith lightsabers at once, and she's surrounded. And she don't care. She is kicking their butts. And I thought, oh my god,
good.
She is very talented. I'm not worried about her anymore. I was at first. But I was like, nah, she freaking got this. Like, I shouldn't have been worried after I saw her take out that dude on the speed bike. She has a fantastic personality. I also love her character design. I love how, like, you know, like she's like the energetic, like, you know, like bright-minded Padawan, basically. But she has a ton of talent. She knows what she's doing. You're not worried about her like you would be, you know, someone who's still in training. So I was worried about Toby throughout his whole episode and what was going to happen to him. I was not worried about this girl.
Nope. Well, also, I can't remember. I want to say, first of all, I was complaining about the lead guy's name because it's like Edward or something.
Was it?
It's like it was like the most generic name, and I knew it, and I'm pretty sure it started with an E. I was just like, that's not your name. There's no way that's your name.
Yeah, that's a bit too normal, dude. Come on, give us something else. Yeah, but hey, he survived. Nothing. Yeah, he didn't do anything. Like he deflected a couple lightsabers. Even the girl was like, "Oh no, we gotta save the Margrave," and she runs after him while the other dude has to hold off the guy he was already fighting. So, yeah, I was like, oh man, this one Jedi who showed up from the beacon, he really didn't do anything, did he?
No, he did not. What was really cool, though, was the main girl, the swordsmith's daughter, was fighting against one of the Sith, and then she got her connection to the Force, so her saber turned green.
I'm just like,
and
oh my
gosh. As it turned green, the guy she was fighting, his turned purple.
Yeah.
Somehow her fighting her connection to the light brought him out of the dark. And I'm just like, this is amazing. This is beyond amazing.
That's some inspiration. That's some hype stuff right there. That's maximum hype. Gotta love it. That's how cool she was, really. That's how much of a ferocious fighter she was, and how strong her connection to the Force became. That it brought somebody out of the darkness. Like, dang, you can't come up with better writing than that, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
episode
this
6.
episode
So cool, so cool.
Episode 5.
Oh, this is episode 5. That's right. I forgot we went out of order. Yeah, episode 5 is awesome. I also like how the Margrave's his like cathedral is just a lightsaber.
Yep, the final shot is because during the fight he threw several of the Sith down onto looks like a giant kyber crystal, and
Pretty sure
when they hit
exactly
the kyber crystal, some of the people who were still alive when they hit the crystal just went up in flames.
Just incinerated. Just touching it was enough to burn them to ashes. That was a little frightening.
And then the energy at the end of the episode, there's still an energy beam basically coming out of the roof, and when you rotate it, it's a lightsaber. And I'm just like, production IG.
Of course. IG, you slick dogs, you. Well done. Yeah. No, I thoroughly enjoyed episode 5 all around. I also liked I actually did enjoy all the CGI in this episode. The second time I watched the episode, I noticed the way that the Bladesmith and his daughter were retrieving the kyber crystals via those
trebuchets.
Yeah, trebuchets just fling out into outer space and just latch onto an asteroid and pull it in.
I hope they get a kyber in it.
Yeah, I'm like, dang, that's really cool. I really dug that. I thought that was a super fun idea. I liked it so mumuch visually that I just included a screenshot in the podcast itself. Because I was like, no. I was like, I gotta throw this in there. Like, the mechanisms, like, whoever designed those trebuchets did a fantastic job. So, the speed bikes, the robot that flies the Bladesmith's daughter to the Margrave's cathedral, like, all of it's very well done. All of it feels Star Wars-esque. And IG, this isn't their first roundabout with making mechanical-looking things in a setting.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with Star Wars, when it comes to what type of technology you put in a story that takes place within Star Wars, there is an aesthetic that you have to go for. There is like a personality that this post-apocalyptic high technology has to take the form of in order to feel like it's Star Wars. And I feel like that's like why a lot of people didn't like the prequels, because everything was so clean and everything just had not like gone down, downhill yet with the prequels. Like everything was still neat and tidy, so it didn't feel the same. But with the original trilogy and then what they try to replicate in the newest trilogy is that that kind of post-apocalyptic technology. So it's not too shiny. It feels like there's been some wear and tear. Like what you're seeing is advanced by our real life standards. Like the technology in Star Wars is far advanced beyond ours, but in the perspective of the story in the moment, it's actually very old.
Yeah,
and I love that about Star Wars. So IG understood that with their designs, with the trebuchets, the speed bikes, even some of the lightsaber designs, the characters, their aesthetics, the Margrave's cathedral, his suit, the robot that he disguised himself in, and even the Bladesmith's home, and like all the equipment he used to make the lightsabers. It all feels Star Wars. Maybe more Star Wars than some other episodes of Visions so far. So,
like I said, this is basically a Star Wars movie. It's just on a shorter time scale, but it's just this is something that would have made the sequel trilogy a million times better.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, I fully agree. I think that they include a story like this, or if they built upon an idea like this into a movie, it could have made the sequel trilogy much more promising.
And also, while you were talking about the new technology, about the technology being used, I had just remembered something from episode 4. the ship that the bounty hunters were using was the same model as the Millennium Falcon.
I thought so. I saw that from the top down. I'm like, wait a second. That doesn't look like an Imperial ship. That doesn't look like a Separatist ship either. Like, huh. I was like, it's circular in form. It can't be the Millennium Falcon itself, obviously, but it's like, what is that? Okay, yeah, it's very similar in build, apparently.
Yeah, it's the same model. It still has its escape pod, because the reason the Millennium Falcon has that dip in it is because the escape pod was launched and never recovered.
Right. Yeah, that was really cool. I also love how that old dude blew up their ship. That was that was the most badass yet funniest thing I'd seen all episode. I adored it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And just to cover the bases, the ninth Jedi episode 5 is ranked number 2 out of the 9 episodes. In my opinion, this is number 1. Honestly, this overtook the duel for me. So I was like, the duel is
number 1.
The duel is number 1.
Okay, yeah, you might have said that in the last podcast. That makes sense. I can see why it's number 1, but between the two, I think that the Ninth Jedi hits a lot harder, and I think his characters are far more memorable. I look at the duel, and I see the main character of the duel as just being like your archetype of a traveling wanderer who just, doesn't want to get too involved, but when he does a cool job. You could also maybe, what's the word for it? You could conjecture that episode 1 is so high because it's the first episode of Visions.
Possibly, yeah.
And it's the one that makes the first impressions for everybody who comes into the show. So, but it's still good. So, I mean, episode 1 and episode 5 are very different from one another.
Yep. But yeah, that's about it. Unless anything else you want to add before we go?
No, I think that's good. I think we covered as much as we could, episodes 4 through 6. And of course, we're gonna tackle 7 through 9 in the next podcast once we get around to it. I don't think I had anything more that I wanted to say. I actually wrote up a list of things ahead of time that I wanted to cover. I need to make sure I go through this. Okay. The one thing I did want to mention, pretty much every episode title for Vision so far is just outright awesome.
Yes.
Look at these episode titles. The Village Bride, The Twins, TOB1. That might be the weakest title, but it's still cool in my opinion. Ninth Jedi. I look at that title and I'm like, what the heck does that mean? The Ninth Jedi. That just sounds cool. It sounds mysterious. Even before we got to episodes 4 through 6, I was already looking at Ninth Jedi, and I'm like, okay, I want to know what that's about.
Oh, yeah.
Ninth Jedi, and it gives you the idea that, okay, there's 8 more, and I know there's many more than just 9 Jedi in the universe of Star Wars, so there must be 9 Jedi revolving around a certain conflict of some sort. What is that? They came together with a title that really just it pulls at you. You want to know what it's about. So yeah, almost every title in Star Wars Visions for an episode has just been outright cool, and I have to really appreciate that. Yep, I already talked about the Village Bride Jedi's aesthetic. I already talked about the Margrave Jugo dude just being super cool. Yep. Yeah. I think I fanboyed as much as I wanted to this podcast, so I'm Gucci.
All right then. Then we'd like to thank all of you for tuning in today. Once again we just covered episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars Visions. We'll be back within the next week or so with episodes 7, 8, and 9. If you like what we did here, please click the like button, hit the subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Tell us which episode is your favorite so far out of the first 6? Do you think that Andrew is a simp for every girl that's just got a
No, don't do this. Don't do this. I mean, I am, but don't do this.
For more news on all things anime, video games, and comics, please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and at avin7.com. From Avin7, I'm Trey. And I was joined today by Andrew.
Okay, the simp, apparently.
And we will see you all next time. May the force be with you, and this is the way.
This is the way.